Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all doing super well. This video is one that I feel is going to be unsurprisingly valuable. As a solopreneur, someone running their own business, maybe you're a freelancer, maybe you're currently in a corporate job but trying to build your side hustle to the point where you can leave your corporate job and go full in on the business. This is for you. Because if you're running your own business, you will know there's often that feeling of never having enough time or having a constant to-do list. So I want to give you 5 hacks, 5 things that I incorporate into my life, my business, that has helped me grow a 6-figure online business as a solopreneur. I am someone who is organized. I am someone who enjoys productivity, time hacks, time management. So if you're not in that camp and you're someone who finds it difficult, then lean in, take notes, because these are 5 hacks that I swear by, I teach my clients, and as I say, I use myself. And for those of you who are new here, who don't know me, welcome. I am Nicola Charlotte. I am a 6-figure solopreneur living in London, running my business from my laptop, essentially. And I'm really here to help women to create more financial fulfillment and freedom in their life, doing work they love, but also having a life that they love as well. And I've worked with over 280 global clients now, and I'm still in that journey. I've been doing this for 5.5 years, and I want to give you a bit of an insight into how I manage my own time so that hopefully you can come away with some tips and new things to try to create more freedom, more spaciousness, more time off in your business without compromising your revenue. Because I'm a big believer that we get to have the life and the business that we desire. It's just about time management, strategies, processes, all things that I teach my clients. But today we're focusing on time management specifically. And as always, if you have any questions, please do pop them down below. Let me know as we go along which ones you're going to try, or if you've got other ones, because we can learn from each other and we can use it as a way of accountability. So let's kick off with hack number 1. And this is time blocking with themes. If you see me looking over here, by the way, I've got my laptop there with my 5 hacks that I have written down for you. So what I mean by this is time blocking your days with themes so that you're not jumping from task to task. You're not going from your emails in 1 hour to a client call, to content creation, to filming a video, to trying to plan your strategy for your next launch. You want to have themes for each day where possible, or even in the morning. So in the morning you have 0 client calls and you're focusing on strategy for your own business growth. And then maybe in the afternoon you're doing content creation. Then maybe on Tuesday, you have that blocked out for client work, whether that's client calls or kind of client services that you're delivering. And then Wednesday, you have a different theme. Maybe that's your CEO day. So you have the day blocked out to work on the business, on the strategy, on the execution, reflecting on what you're already doing. And the reason why this works so well from a time management point of view is you're not jumping from task to task. You can get really focused and get your head really down in on one task at a time. And this helps to reduce things like decision fatigue, overwhelm, and quite frankly, it wastes our time because our brain, our mind has to jump from one task to the next. If it's doing that 7 times a day, it takes a bit of time for our mind to get in that headspace. Whereas if we know that on a Monday morning, we're doing strategy. On a Tuesday, we're having client calls and client work. On Wednesday, we're doing content creation and content planning. We can then be really focused and essentially much more productive on those days. So figure out what that would look like for you. Those are some examples of how I plan my time. I have regular CEO days. I have Monday mornings and Friday afternoons free of client calls. I try and group my calls on regular days so that I'm not flitting between all of them. And then I will do things like content batching and planning on one day so that I can get through and have a week's worth of content ready to go for the following week. Let me know if you do that already. And if not, what would that week look like? Start to map it out so that then you can turn to your diary I use Google Calendar to plan your week so that when you have opportunities come in, when you're taking discovery calls, when you're arranging networking events or meeting up with people, you've got those allocated times, and you're also then honoring your boundaries, your time, and your energy as well. Okay, on the topic of energy, that is hack number 2, is planning your energy, not just your time. So what I mean by this is you will know when you work best. So are you someone who works really well in the morning or in the afternoons? I am personally a morning person. So I like to get up early. I do so naturally. Go to the gym, get some movement in, do my morning routine, and then I will typically do the kind of bigger, more energy demanding tasks at the beginning of the day or in the first half of the day. Because I know by the time it gets to sort of 3, 4, 5 o'clock, I'm not as focused. I can still do productive work. I can do like client check-ins, I can do client calls. But if it's like the strategy, the kind of more bigger picture visioning and planning, I prefer to do that in the morning. So what are your energy levels like? When do you work best? And in what environments as well? I like to get out and work from coffee shops or go to co-working spaces when I want to feel really focused. I have got a good desk set up at home, but in these current temperatures in the summer, it gets really warm at the top of the house. So I like to go out. I plan around my energy, knowing that I typically get a bit of an mid-afternoon slump. And so that's not going to be my best time. So we want to plan our energy with our natural peaks in productivity. And knowing what that is for you is going to be a really effective way of time management, because you can get a lot done in those times when your energy is peaking. And then when you feel like you need to take your foot off the pedal a little bit and take a bit of space out, maybe that's when you go to the gym, or when you do more like the socializing, you're doing meetups, you're going to networking events, or whatever that might be. Like, how can you plan your energy, not just your time? Okay, hack number 3 is CEO time versus delivery time. So as the owner of your business, as a solopreneur, you have to be the person who delivers the service, delivers the products, or delivers the work that your business provides. But you also have to be the CEO who's doing more of the strategy, the planning, the reflection, the refinement in the business. What I see a lot with the women that I work with is they get stuck at certain income months. So they hit a plateau of revenue, and that is because they are consistently replacing the money that they are generating rather than growing it. And that is because they're spending a lot of time in the business, doing the work, doing the delivery, but they're not spending a lot of time on the business, i.e. planning, future visioning, strategic planning. So we want to try and separate those tasks, which comes back to hack number 1 of time blocking. How much time at the moment are you spending on delivery versus the CEO time? So I have a CEO day probably once every 2 weeks. It's not a set day. I just always plan for it ahead. So that is when I look ahead to the next quarter, or I review how the current month's going. I always make a plan at the beginning of the quarter of each month of what my goals are, what I want to focus on, revenue that I want to be hitting, so that on my CEO days throughout the quarter, I can check in with that plan. Are things going well? Do I need to change things? Maybe my interests have kind of shifted a little bit depending on conversations that I've been having, or kind of current topics that I think might be more relevant to bring into that plan. And so by having regular time to be more of a CEO, I am saving myself time, because I am spotting as things go along where there's gaps, where there's opportunities. Am I tracking against my revenue goals? If you're constantly doing and in the business, we don't have that opportunity to take a step back, to readjust, to refine, to plan. So we need to separate the strategic thinking from client delivery, so that we can set ourselves up for success rather than just delivering success for our clients. So what I would really recommend here is blocking out a day every 2 weeks, or even 4 hours every 2 weeks, for that CEO thinking time. This is where you zoom out. This is where you analyze the last couple of weeks. Has your content been performing as you hoped? Have you got the number of inquiries as you would expect? How's your lead generation going? How is your product suite feeling? Is there an opportunity coming up for a new product? Maybe it's a seasonal product that you want to launch. Are you then creating time to map out that launch versus getting a week ahead of Black Friday and suddenly saying, oh, it's Black Friday, I'm going to create an offer? This is something that I help my clients with a lot, is almost that strategic thought partner, where I come in and help them get more strategic and more analyze more of their business. Because a lot of the people that I work with are incredible at what they do, but they might not have as much experience in the sales or the strategy. So that's when working with a coach or a mentor is so valuable, because you have someone that comes in with a very strategic headspace, or at least in my instance, that's what I do, to help you spot those opportunities, to help you step back from the day-to-day and think bigger picture. So do you have enough CEO time in your weeks or your months versus just the delivery time? And that's where you see the growth, because you think ahead, you plan ahead. You're focusing on those revenue generating activities versus just the delivery of your client work. Okay, time hack or time management hack number 4 is non-negotiable personal time. Let me say this loud and clear. Rest and time away from the business is not you being lazy. It is essential. We don't have an unlimited amount of energy. We need to restore and recharge our energy daily so that we can show up as the most successful, focused, decisive, magnetic version of ourselves, especially if you are in a service-based business. People are attracted to your energy. Yes, they buy because of your skill, but they also buy because of your personality, your confidence, your ability to communicate, the way that you show up online. If your energy is depleted because you don't take rest days or because you're not having personal time, that is going to show. People spot depletedness or low energy or lethargic vibes, So as an example, and I'm going to vlog this, well, I plan to anyway, I'm going to the spa for the day on Friday. I typically try to keep my Fridays relatively free. I have a couple of clients who work in a corporate who Fridays work best for them, so I do their calls in the morning, but that's every other week. So I try and plan me time. I have a me day. So I have my CEO day, I have me time, which is typically either a full morning or a full afternoon, where I do things for myself to make me feel good. I have earned the money in my business where I get to enjoy luxuries like these. So what's the point in not doing that? Not only does it make me feel good, it gives me time away from the business, which is super valuable for reflection, for creative thinking, for ideation, and just to be with your thoughts and to acknowledge what you're doing and how far you've come and the lifestyle that you've created for yourself. So my spa day on Friday is personal time. I'm taking that guilt-free because I want to. And it's not because I've worked hard to deserve it. I have structured my business in a way that enables me to take time off because that's something that's important to me. It doesn't have to be a full spa day. It could be going to your favorite workout class at 10 o'clock and then going to get a coffee and read for an hour. It could be, booking a lunch with friends midweek. It doesn't need to be in the kind of out of office hours. That being said, do you have time boundaries? Are you clear when your working hours are? In the same way that if you worked in a corporate job, typically people work between sort of 8:45 and 5:45. Do you have those hours? Have you got your personal time protected? Because it's this time where we recharge, where we bring back that energy that we can then give out in our business or to our clients. So if you don't have regular personal time blocked in, this is your sign, because you come back from that personal time more motivated, more energized, more clear-headed. That is then fueled into your content, your client calls, your discovery conversations. And that's felt, and that is what then leads to greater success. So don't be fooled by this notion that working harder equals more success, or that when I have more clients, then I will take more time off. your energy is one of your strongest, if not the strongest currencies you could have. So if you're not protecting your energy, then you're doing yourself a disservice and you're missing out on opportunities because people feel low, depleted energy. Okay, on to time management hack number 5. And this is pre-deciding or pre-planning your week on a Sunday. So we really want to get to a place where we're coming to the week on a Monday with a really clear plan or real clarity over what our week ahead looks like. So having a little mini planning ritual, either on a Friday evening, like Friday at the end of the day, or even on a Sunday, where you look at your week ahead, you make sure you've got your non-negotiables blocked in, you've got your time blocks for your different days, you've got any personal time blocked out, you've got any CEO time blocked out as well. These might not be every week, but I would encourage you to do them every other week. As a little side tip, you can do these as recurring reminders or recurring events in your diary, so that every 2 weeks on a Friday afternoon, you have off. So that every 2 weeks on a Monday morning, it's your CEO time. This is like a ritual that you can get into to be more on top of your time, to manage more time effectively, and to ensure that you are giving time to the things that are going to make the biggest difference. So I like to do this typically kind of on a Friday, but I don't mind if I have to do a bit of work on a Sunday. I don't do client work. It might be more like planning or strategy. I often find that I get inspired on a weekend because I'm less sat at my desk, I'm out and about, I'm thinking about things, I'm listening to podcasts. So if I get an idea, I will jot it down, I will log it, or I will kind of map it into my next week to implement and execute that idea that I've had. So rather than spending the first hour on your Monday morning planning your week, do that before, so that when it gets to Monday, you can hit the ground running, you've got a clear plan, you know what you're focusing on, you've got your energy protected, you've got time management tips implemented, you've got a plan to follow. You're going to save so much time by doing this. And you don't have to fill every minute of the day, by the way. You can have white space, you can have an hour lunch break, you can have time just to see what comes up. You don't need to plan every single minute of the day. If you enjoy doing that, fine, but I think be wary of being super rigid, because that can lead to tunnel vision and that can kind of lead to missing out on opportunities or events or social opportunities because we're too rigid in our planning. So find what works for you. But yeah, set yourself up a mini ritual either on a Friday or on a Sunday so that you can start your week with a really clear, positive, ready to go mindset. So those are my 5 time management hacks, and I'd love to know which ones resonate. Which ones are you going to try? Do any of them stand out as being like obvious ones that you've missed? Let me know. Time management isn't about doing more. It's not about cramming more into a day. It's about being more productive with the time that you have, as well as creating more space for you, for thinking, for enjoyment, for pleasure, for working out, for spending time with friends. It's about creating space to live the life you actually want and realizing that you can have more freedom and increase your revenue. Because if you're managing your time and energy, you will be able to get so much more done in the time that you have. So let me know your thoughts below, and do not forget to like and subscribe this video if you found it helpful. And it will also mean that you get first views on my regular videos, which are going to be, are a combination of strategy, tips, insights for growing success as a solopreneur, as well as some lifestyle behind the scenes content of me running my 6-figure business online, and also what I get up to in between all of that. So I would love to connect. I will leave my links below, and I wish you a fantastic and productive next few days as you implement these time management tips. Bye.